Welcome back to another video. Today's video slash discussion video. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if I did, don't quote me on that, but I think I did. So I just was thinking about something. Now, a lot of you guys probably don't know. Season 7 is we have about 20 days left until Season 7 happens. Now, as you guys know, right now there's a possibility of chance there could be two themes, but I have something a little bit more precise to this theme. I'm gonna call it like for next. Now you might be wondering, what am I talking about? What are you talking about, schematics? What are you saying? What are you saying? Huh? Well, specifically, I'm saying this. Um, uh, how do I say this? Uh, Specifically, there are two themes that could go coexist in season 7. I believe that some people might like. I noticed that on Twitter. I was just looking around Twitter. I saw this like most recent tweet about a possibly a Greek mythology theme. That could work. And then another person said a medieval theme. Now, because we have so much medieval characters, that could also work, right? But what if we had the fusion of both those themes? What I mean is like if you hear that like little ringing, that's my cell phone. Uh, but if we had the both combination of both themes together, then we can say, oh yeah, now that's a more like now that would be more like a really cool thing. We have like Poseidon. We have like like just I'll give you an example. Not Poseidon. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hercules, Spartacus. Who else? Like um, Medusa. Where we have Midas, right? Um, and like it would kind of like characters like those. I mean, we're already having like we're already getting a that looks like Medusa, but she's not really a Medusa kind of. I mean, her name is Lara, but she's not really a Medusa. Like her name's not Medusa. Her name is Lara. So a Medusa or a Gorgon is a snake kind of character, if you know what I mean. Right. Now, next thing I want to talk about is so how would these characters how would they look like? Well, for instance, Hercules and Spartacus, for example, are both or like Ares, for example, the god of war, or any of those or King Arthur. They don't have to be like super famous gods or like how look at Midas, like he's just a guy with a fancy suit, right? See, what a lot of character, a lot of people like those, like Midas or any characters like those, they don't have to follow the exact same kind of concept. Uh, but for instance, Hercules, for example, um, let's give an example of Hercules or Spartacus. They can look like super like really strong, and they can have like it almost looks like almost the size of like kind of like almost the size of Venom, but much larger, basically. You know how Venom is like this big buff guy, kind of like that, but but they can go they're warriors, and same with Ares. Like he can be like a giant warrior, but they don't have to look like Hercules is has like as you guys know, Hercules like all gods have like these long, luscious hair. Like they have this long wavy hair. So for instance, Hercules can have this long wavy hair with uh, even Spartacus like that, right? So if you look up like Spartacus or any like Greek mythology, we could also see like characters from we haven't heard of, like the famous character. If you don't know, there's like a character from I forgot his name. Um, Gilgamesh. If you look up Gilgamesh, not the there's a famous um, god called Gilgamesh also. So you got that, and like we can have multiple different types of characters from all across the world. Like another character that's a famous character who's also the mother of the sea slash would be like you know like what about like Athena, right? We already have Apollo. Like what if we had like characters like those, like Apollo, Athena, uh, or like even like zodiacs, for instance, Leo, Sagittarius, Cancer, not the, you know what I mean, like the zodiac, Scorpio, all those characters like from like famous like from the stars above, all those can be all into one battle pass, right, for season 7. And same with like other characters like, if you think of like legend, like the what about Sir Camelot, or known as Camelot, Lord Camelot, or whatever you want to call it. You got all those famous characters, and they don't have to follow the coordination of the whole, like, for instance, the only reason like like let's say like Midas, for example, you know the only reason why they like Midas was just he's he's a god, right? He is a god. If you don't know what I mean, like a god is like Midas is a god, so it's great confirmation because everyone knows that the famous legends. Um, but the season idea, namely, I call it like what I would like to call it is like 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 the legend season, or legend like the legendary season, where we get like all these characters from ancient times, you know, like other other mythology creatures and Camelot, or from other like all over across the world, like people who believe in God or anything like that, for instance. For me, I don't believe in God. This is only for Fortnite's like what I'm basically trying to say is I'm just trying to say is like it's a concept. It's basically what I mean by that is basically I'm saying like characters that I would call this more like a Greek mythology, medieval. What other types of mythologies are there? I had to really look up. Hold on. I'm just gonna see what other mythologies they are, because there are a lot of mythologies out there. Uh, like it could be like a combination of all the different mythologies from legends, from characters from 1,000 years ago, like Norse mythology. I mean, we already have one character that's Thor, but see, like, I mean, like, Thor is like I mean we have like the famous king, like what's it called, uh I forgot his name. I really forgot his name. I think it's like like you know characters like I forgot his name. I really did. What was that character's name? Because I don't remember his name. Odin, right? Odin. Like those kind of characters, like from I mean, we already have Thor, right? But it's like when you play as Thor, you're not really playing as the God of Thunder. I mean you are, but technically you're not really playing as the Legend of Thor itself, because no one knows what Thor looks like in Norse mythology. Um, but characters like Odin or any legends and stuff. But I don't know if the like people. I know I never heard of Norse mythology before. When I first heard about it, it was years and years ago, about talking about like Thor and other Loki and stuff. Like I heard about it, but never really got into it too much because it was like not a really uh, common you know, like common knowledge, um, you know, like things like those kind of legends people don't really talk about. Like Norse mythology is like not really talked about. The most popular ones are like from books and other things like books, or I mentioned about fantasy, right? Like a fantasy with magic and all that kind of stuff. That could be a possibility for season 7. We could possibly see like knights or like famous legends like Greeks or other things. It could be like a combination of all the different, all your favorite legends from books to from from gods, from goddesses, from anything like those. You know, I mean, they already like even like the island itself is named after a god. It's named after a Greek god. That's Apollo, who's also an archer. Is also a healer, and then we also have another god who's also was on our old map called Athena, right? Right. So like characters like those would be really cool to see. You know, Athena, like how would like Athena would look like? What would Athena look like? How would you predict it? What she would look like? I mean, she would look like the island, but she would also look like what's it called uh, uh, a girl. So she would be probably like a goddess or something like that, right? Any goddesses or gods or like the famous god, if you know what I mean, like Freya or something like that. But I'm not saying that like I'm talking about this season. Next season could be like a legend themed, where we get like legends from from everywhere, from all over across the world, right? And some people like say, oh, everyone wants to see a medieval theme, right? Yeah, everyone wants to see a medieval theme, right? I would love to see a medieval theme. Like, what would be like a really cool idea is dragons from like other things like if we ever get like bosses in like in Fortnite, and we already have a boss right now, and that is the Storm King, but we don't have any other bosses. So for instance, like other bosses like I don't know, like minotaurs or giant trolls or what are like you guys probably can come up with a better idea for what kind of like famous bosses like goblins, ghouls, zombies. We already have zombies, but anything that's like like vampires. I mean, we don't actually have physical vampires. That ones that, but we do have phantoms in Fortnite right now. So things like those, like legends, but it just doesn't have to follow the doesn't have to follow the actual. Like if you would look up King Arthur, right? You would find that a King Arthur like a dude, right? You'll find him as a dude. Or like for instance, what's another character? It would be another dude. Um, I can't think of anyone else, but any person who is like, it doesn't have to follow the legend. It can follow like it can you can choose your own path. Like it doesn't have to be. Yeah, I mean the only reason why Midas would be a dude is because it's because it follows the legend, and it would look better without like it being uh, a, like a girl, because it's a Greek god. So um, other characters like from famous gods to like famous Greek gods, I should call them mythology Greek gods, would be of course, as I mentioned, Apollo, Athena. Other characters like Neptune, not Neptune, that's a Roman god. Poseidon, uh, uh, Zeus, Zeus. Who else? Let's see. Other Hades. Um, so like those kind of characters, or from other. I really like. I gotta say so many things because I don't know what to say. Like there are so many like other types of mythology out there. Uh, but basically, this is only to talk about what to expect in next season's theme. My expectation will be very interesting. Is it if it's gonna be Greek gods slash like legend like with legends like characters from books to like Merlin or like King Arthur or any like those kind of characters or the from the Camelot story or anything like that's basically what people want to see. It's like a combination of all of those kind of stories, from books to famous legends to everything you can possibly think of, into one single season. Like even like how cool would that be? Seeing your favorite character to come into Fortnite, all right? Not like like okay, like some people like like oh I want to see Naruto in Fortnite, right? Yeah, yeah, but like I think a lot of people rather see something more interesting instead of like characters like those. So uh, right now we don't know what to expect for next season. I did mention that we are in about like almost a month or like before the beginning of season. I did mention while I was going around the map, I did mention that the I feel like we're going through different eras, different. We're in a we are in an era where there's dinosaurs, wolves, other creatures from like you know, like it like dinosaurs and like we're in a primal era, right? I said that at the beginning of the season. Next season could be in relation to a medieval thing. We could get dragons. We can be able to fly like again. Like, but dragons will have a limited time to fly. So, for instance, they can only fly a certain amount of distance, right? Even like, you could probably take out a dragon. There probably be if what would be really cool is to actually see like its ability. I really want to see like sword fighting into Fortnite. Like sword fighting has always been a thing. I mean, we already have like knights and things like that already in game. Like if you remember back in chapter two, I mean back in chapter one, we had season two where we had that. It was supposed to be like a medieval theme, but that theme was not really a medieval. Would you call that a medieval theme, or would you call it something like totally different? For me, I would call it non-medieval theme because it's non-medieval theme. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, talking about discussion and talking about the Fortnite and what to expect in next season. I think it would be really cool to see how Epic would play this. I think it's going to be really interesting to see that it could be medieval themed slash Greek mythology themed because those are the two themes that everyone wants. I want that one. I want to see them. I want to see castles. I want to see like like statues from like ancient times, like things like those. Like how cool would it be to see the famous like a statue of uh, the great Hercules or whatever, or Poseidon, who's like like those kind of things. Even like the FNCS, you can see some statues of the characters, right? And I think something like that would happen. We'll get like some kind of legend themed, where basically you get the famous characters from ancient time, from books to everything you possibly think of, as I mentioned before. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video. I'll talk a little bit or touch a little bit more on this video, and I will see you later. Goodbye.